Thank you and good afternoon. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports Report. Vikings and Bears Monday night football. The Vikings beat the Bears pretty easily. The Vikings led the whole game at 3-0 and would end up winning 30-12. Not much notes on the game except for the Bears got sacked twice and it was a loss of 12 each time. The Falcons made a touchdown on the night and 2 field goals and a safety. The Falcons had a chance with Desmond Ridder at the end, but that pass was incomplete. The Raiders made 1 touchdown and it came down to a late field goal. The Raiders had 2 chances to get it in from the 35, but the first one was incomplete and the second one was intercepted. Starting quarterback for the Falcons, it was Kirk Cousins, and starting quarterback for the Raiders was Desmond Ridder, basically a third or fourth string, whichever you consider it. Mizzou will play Jackson State tonight. Mizzou got beat last year by Jackson State. This is a completely different team. Players to watch out for: Tamar Bates and Anthony Robinson, the Tigers' best player. Bates averages the most points, but Anthony Robinson is the best player. Jerron Pierre Jr. is good for 4th in the nation among points. He averages 23. The Tigers will need to stop him. The Tigers are favored by 16.5. Tip is at 6:30. And the Jacksonville State is 2 games above 500. In the NFL Power Rankings, I've got the Eagles at 1. They look really good, seeking 10 wins in a row. Jalen Hurts, I love the running back and the quarterback. Saquon Barkley could be an MVP candidate if it wasn't for Josh Allen. We'll see if Mahomes plays. Defense looked good at times, but Mahomes needs to stay healthy in order for the Chiefs to jump one. I still think the Eagles are a better team and have better chance in the postseason. Hollywood Brown Jr. is believed he will be back this week, according to all reports. Bills' Josh Allen is why I give them 3 in the MVP. They've scored 90 points over the last 2 weeks, one in a loss to the Rams, and this one in a win against the Lions. The Lions are dwindling at this point with a plagued-injury team. On Sunday, they announced that David Montgomery would be out for the season with an MCL injury. He will need surgery. They expect him to be out for longer than next year probably, as Charles Omenihu had the same injury and was not back until week 10 of this year. Vikings just don't have the quarterback given Sam Darnold's history, but he's been really good this year. In football, we stay with football. Chiefs wide receiver Clyde Edwards-Helaire unfortunately had PTSD, and I was happy with the insurance and good health that he was, and good insurance that he was getting, rooting for him. But unfortunately, I think he'll have to find another team to find great health insurance. Coaching carousel in college. North Carolina hires Bill Belichick. We've talked about that. Rich Rodriguez was hired back at West Virginia. Former Missouri coach Barry Odom was hired at Purdue. UCF rehires Scott Frost as their head coach. Charlotte hires Tim Alabama as their new head coach. FIU hires Willie Simon as their new head coach. And Fresno State hires Matt Easerson. Mike Vick is hired at Sacramento State. I don't think this would have happened 5 years ago, but with player likeness and players getting paid, it makes all the difference. Some people may ask, why would a dog lover go to his school? Well, I think Michael Vick is well enough recruiting that in his time spent in jail that he has learned how to be a better person. Jets GM job, John Robinson was among others, but expected to be the favorite. He could hire former coach Mike Vrabel, former GM Dave Ziegler was also interviewed. John Dorsey, former Chiefs GM before Brett Veach. Also, Chiefs staff on GM Mike Bongzo could also be hired. Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham could also be hired. I know an Eagles assistant general manager, Alec Herbre. I know next to nothing about GM, so it's hard for me to give an opinion on that. Also, Thomas DeFore is also in the running, former Falcons GM. Now, Randy Moss was mentioned that he beat cancer, and last night they brought Randy Moss's jersey out to the field with Chris Carter and among others. For teammate, as we listen to Stephen A. Smith to end this podcast, don't let your talent interfere with character. Greatest teammates don't let their interfere with their character. These players are special because they combine talent with character. They are true leaders. They know that just because they have talent, it doesn't give them permission to cost the team. They don't let court behavior become an issue. They hold themselves accountable and under standards, if not higher than everyone else. Believe the greater teammate believes in the team instead of pointing fingers and asking what's wrong with the team. These teammates say, "Come on, man, you got this," when the teammate is trailing and things aren't going well as planned. Their teammates go fight back for them, given all. When the team is winning, they're going out and going well. They remind teammates the game is not over and you can always do better. These teammates believe in team mission and want to do whatever is needed. Embrace their role. The greatest teammate embraces their role. Their role does not whine, complain, or sook about their playing time. They embrace the role and do it best to their abilities. These teammates understand they don't need to be a star. They can still contribute into their specific roles. Great culture does not exist without teammates willing to sacrifice the greater good of a teammate. Teams can only win and championships when players acknowledge, accept, and excel in their roles. Great teammates do that. They have great culture, exist without teammates. Great teammates know they're more leading by example than the creators and protectors special teammate cultures. Be sure these qualities within your athletes have helped build special teams and culture. You always wanted that as a head coach. And Patrick Mahomes shows this example when he's out there on the field and when he's at the press conferences. That's Sam Vaughn Sports. And Sam's on Mental Health Day.
And that's something that needs to be brought to the table here. A lot of times people bring up the analogy of Antonio Brown. Well, let me bring up Antonio Brown in this respect. There's a lot of things, and put RC and Cam up on the screen, please, when I'm saying this, fellas. There were a lot of issues that involved Antonio Brown on and off the field before he walked off the field. So we looked at him and we said, something ain't right, something ain't right, something ain't right. And it was still the last game he's ever played. Still, understanding all of that, the NFL still said, nah, not that. Not that in the middle of a game, down 14 points, you gonna take off your shirt and walk off the damn field? Okay, now we fast forward to 3 years later, and we go in and we get into Devondre Campbell. Okay, you step on the field. I got news for y'all. Y'all know this better than me. Whatever his angst, whatever his disgust, whatever his frustration was over in terms of him being